Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Mojo. I'm the raid leader and an officer over at MALICE, Guild on Mal'Ganis. Just gonna do a quick Mythic Coven overview for my raid team. Gonna be progressing it very shortly. Currently sitting at 7 of 11 Mythic now. Not bad, getting there right. This guide is catered specifically to my team and kind of what I know we need to talk about. But if you get anything from it, that's awesome. Um, First things first, Mythic Coven really doesn't differ a lot from Heroic. The progression curve for it is going to come down to having the appropriate damage for basically pushing through Monthuls and then handling Norganons perfectly. Now, there's still going to be the basic RNG from Heroic baked into this fight. There's going to be location of Storm of Darkness spawning. There's going to be a tighter heal check on a couple of the abilities like Chill Blood and stuff like that. But outside of those RNG things that are going to be a little tricky, not a bad fight. New stuff is going to be a fourth boss added to the rotation. Name is Thuria. She's the Mother Cosmos. And this boss doesn't add a lot to the fight except for two very major abilities. The abilities are major because they can kill others, not just you. It's not just you getting to a safe spot, but we'll go over that in just a second. There's going to be a soft enrage basically baked into a Monthul's Torment. That's basically heal and dot adds. The rotation is set for the Titan Torments now. Their abilities are going to come in every 45 seconds now, a bit quicker, but it's going to go Flames, Army, Lightning, Heal, Dot each time. We're going to get that rotation basically twice because the second time we get to a Monthul's Torment, if the damage isn't there to kill the boss by then, we've hit a snag, stuff like that. Other thing is we're going to focus a lot on CC. So 4 Norganons, 4 Army. I'm going to nullify it by setting up a CC for everything. We should have anywhere from 3 to 4 Druids in the raid for Coven, and we'll get into that when we get there, right? Quick overview listed out of what I want to talk about real quick. Don't want to drag this out too long. First thing, before anything else, I want to pull up a snapshot here of what Cosmic Glare looks like. This is one of the 2 abilities added by the new Mother Cosmos. So when she casts Cosmic Glare, 2 players gonna get a green arrow above their head. Now there's no fancy add-on, there's no fancy weak aura. That's gonna make it a lot easier. Not like Mythic Archimon, if you think back to that, dealing with beams on there. It's gonna be identify those 2 players, they stay put, plant their feet in the ground, and the beam rolls through. This will probably one-shot a number of players later in the fight. There could be some shitty overlaps with Chilled Blood or other, inhibiting things. Just gonna have to work through it and we'll see. Get some lucky RNG, right? But firstly, something that was never talked about when progressing Heroic. I know a lot of the top guilds like Method and those, they figured it out quite quickly, and it's part of why they're the best, right? The picture I posted is a square just like Coven's room. The black corners are where the Titan Torments take place. The red areas, while are not dangerous areas, are not optimal. So we've got the green lines on the outside there, basically your optimal places to stay clumped up. Now, this can spread the raid out a little bit. Healers not being able to stand in the middle and reach everyone. So my goal is going to be actually to split up the raid into 4 groups. With these 4 groups, 5 players apiece, 1 healer for each. This should keep a healer in range of their group at all times if we put everyone on each wall. The concept behind this too, it'll tie into CC later for Norganons, as well as Storm of Darkness, even Cosmic Glare later on. Now, as the fight progresses on, when Storm of Darkness is gone, there's going to be movement, right? This is not like a fixed location where we never have to say like, oh, well, I couldn't do that because I was in my area. Got to get rid of that idea. These are the most optimal places to be. When it is most optimal for your damage and for your healing, you need to be in these areas, right? Not a big deal. Nextly for the tanks and heals. So tanks, it's very similar to Heroic. Neither of you or anyone else who even subs into tank is going to get hurt bad. It's really not going to be terrible. Biggest thing is in Heroic, we tend to make decisions to move kind of on the fly. Like, oh, I'm going to move over here. I think I'm going to work my way there. Maybe for a Storm, maybe for Norganons, maybe for a Whirling Saber, Shadow Blades, all that stuff. What we want to do in Mythic is keep the bosses as close to cleave range as possible. If I'm on my Druid, believe me, like I'll be shouting about it, right? Everybody's used to that. But when you go to make a movement for an ability, we want to identify where you're moving to and just go. Commit to it, get there, get set back up so the melee can move effectively, so the ranged and healers can make sure we're all positioned correctly. Just have to be deliberate with your movements. Just get there, get settled. For heals, the healing check for you guys is not going to be difficult. Even with some of our off healers or anyone who's off specing it, it's not terrible because the healing check overall isn't bad. When it comes to just constant throughput throughout the whole fight, it's all going to come down to the priority healing. Identify and heal the chill bloods up. Identify and external the fulminating pulse targets. Identify the cosmic glare targets, and if they had chill blood as well, gotta have bark skin, gotta have sack or iron bark rather. Possibly need an external people if they don't have a personal. If you have a weak aura or your frames indicate those abilities, that's fantastic. If you don't, get with me before pull, before raid tonight, so we can go through it, or before progression, you know, when we get to that point. Next thing, DPS priority targets, exact same as heroic, right? There isn't a big change to it. Now, what's most important is that we identify when it's important to focus the boss and focus the ads. The ads are always the greater target unless otherwise stated. So if we get to a point where, let's see, lightning ads are up and we're getting the second Torment of Aman'Thul's, we're probably just going to push the boss, right? We need to get that kill. If our DPS is too far behind, it's too low, we've got a bigger problem. That second Aman'Thul's is pretty big DPS check. When I say make a decision to DPS the boss, I'm talking about when the last Khaz'goroth ad is across the entire room. Is it really worth running over there to get that last 20% DPS? No, it's probably not. I know a lot of people will make that decision for themselves, but keep in mind, uptime is the most important thing at the end of the day. If we're going to run heavy on melee, we've got to be heavy on, you know, focus and priority damage. Crowd control. So the only difference from heroic is we're going to cover everything. I'd love to be able to set out a list right now, say exactly what the CC is going to look like, but it's just not feasible, right? You know, we're a late expansion, progression guild. It's going to be tough to know exactly who's going to be here. Life happens. So stay tuned for that. Once we get in there and I've got our comp picked out, we'll have an AA set up for all this, post all this information and angry assignments that specifies anyone in particular. Lastly, interrupt rotation. The interrupt rotation is for when the Mother of Cosmos is active. Her new ability, or well, the new boss's ability when she's active is Touch of the Cosmos. It's a cast. It is 2.5 seconds long. Touch of the Cosmos is what can cuck us. We get later in the fight, somebody's got Chill Blood, somebody's got, you know, Cosmic Glare. Any of these random abilities that are going on all the time, this cast gets off, bam, they're done. It will probably one-shot most classes. We're at a eye level now where it might not, but we're getting up to every single one. Gonna specify about 4 to 6 players. I'd like it to be 6. I think we'll have 6 melee. So no matter where the boss is at any point, someone is ready. We'll have 2 people for a 1 through 3 rotation, right? That's gonna be big. We've got a lot of people who are used to doing this kind of thing. You know, Leap, Shadow, Dangerous, you guys. This will be a lot like what was it? Mythic Command, second boss in TOS. Really similar concept. Always did a really good job with that. Kind of at a point now where I've touched on everything that I think is important to say ahead of time. The assignments for the positioning in the room is something I do want to try. We'll see how it goes. Just kind of want to try to nullify a little bit of the RNG, since there's plenty of it already in the fight. Yeah, outside of that, I'm just excited to get pulling for it. Bear Mathers is at 30%. Super confident we'll get it pretty quick, guys. Anyone has any questions, reach out to me. I'm going to post a couple links to some of the good info that I researched as well down below. Have a great night, guys. Thanks.